All right, everybody, welcome back. Something else I wanted to dive into was today. So, this was my first week where I've done my new training schedule where I'm doing chest and triceps is day one, back is day two, shoulders and biceps day three, and then I have a day off, and I have legs, and then it's day off. I did this intentionally where I have a day off and a day off between, and I have legs sandwiched because I want to hit my legs extremely hard. I want to just really push the limits on my legs. I want to have them get really big. And at least at minimum, since I'm in a deficit, I want them to at least maintain, if not maybe slightly grow in this deficit. So I want to give my legs an ample amount of time to recover, right? And so that's the way I'm approaching this. But what was kind of interesting to me is most of the time that I go to the gym, I go to the gym whenever the gym's open usually. So 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. It's the same 10, 15 people in there. And majority of people are on the treadmills or anything like that, so the gym is mine. Like, I have everything I need in the gym. There's no waiting for people, there's no trying to get around people. It's not packed to the walls full of stuff, right? I'm able to really focus and dial in on my training time because I don't exercise, I train. There's a difference. I'm not doing random things. I'm going in there with a plan. There's a layout of how I want to do these exercises for a reason. So when I go into the gym in the morning, even though it might not be the best for me getting the fuel throughout the day, because if I was to go in the afternoon, I could have a ton of food beforehand, which would be ideal. But the training environment is what I need. So I just try to make sure that my food the night before can kind of lead into a good training session that morning. So fasted's not the best way to train, but in my eyes, the training environment is worth giving up that little bit of uh, surplus of calories I may have at the end of the day instead. And it just works better for my lifestyle. So that's the reason I do it. But with that being said, because I'm always in the gym early in the morning, surrounded by the same 10 people roughly, and we all have our routines and everybody kind of does their thing, and I can get a spot real quick if I need it. I don't get to see other people train very often. And most of the guys in there that do train are trying really hard to make progress. They're really putting in a lot of effort. They're a little bit older. Not too many young people, like my age or younger, are going into the gym, in their 20s to train extremely hard that early in the morning. Most of these people are in the afternoon. So I came in today because I had a mix up of my daily schedule, and I trained legs at the gym in the afternoon. I was at Gold's, and y'all will see the posing video here soon. I'll put it up just so I can get an eyeball for how my body and my physique is looking, give you a little bit of an update. But what threw me off was I don't like trying to record the training if it's super packed in the gym. I feel like it can just be kind of a little awkward to put the camera where it needs to be. I might be blocking somebody from their training. I'm not trying to do all that. So I did the posing video instead, and I just focused on my training, getting the training in, trying to get to the machines and the exercises I needed to get it in, right? Because it's extremely packed. I was having to share machines, wait on machines. Not really too long. Usually it's like somebody's doing their last set. I walk up, hey, I got, just this one set, and then I hop in, right? So I'm not going to sit there. If they say they have 4 or 5 sets, I'm going to figure out something else to do. I'm not going to just stand there for, 20 minutes. But anyway, so I get into the gym, I'm doing my workout. And what I found kind of interesting is I was helping some people with it was what we call an AMRAP drop set. So as many reps as possible. That's what AMRAP stands for. And then you have a certain weight on there. So let's say I was helping them with a leg press. I think he had 6 plates on each side, or 7 plates. So you do as many as you can, and then you take a plate off each side, and then do as many as you can, and a plate off each side. That's the drop set side. So the AMRAP is just as many as you can at that weight. You drop it, you do it again and again and again until you get to the last plate, right? And didn't know these 2 gentlemen. I was helping them out, and what I found very interesting, when they were doing the leg presses, I was, getting into it, saying, you got one more, come on, let's push it, let's push it, let's push it. Mind you, I don't know them. I'm just kind of getting amped up into their workout. I like seeing people get after it, right? So I'm watching, I'm kind of paying attention to them as they're doing their leg presses, and I'm thinking he's probably got like maybe 5 or 6 more in the tank, and he's going down for the rep, and I'm saying, okay, another one, another one, another one. I'm trying to get his mindset in the game, pushing him, and then he'll say, take it off, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I take the weight off, and this happens over and over and over, and I'm thinking he's got more in the tank, more in the tank, and we're taking the plates off. And it made me kind of curious to think that maybe he mentally was thinking he was hitting failure. But from an outside perspective, he was not having any of the characteristics in his set to tell me that failure was close. And so a lot of people, I found out when I was looking around, I was watching a lot of people in their training when I was taking my breaks and I was recovering in between my sets. And I started looking around, and it made me pay attention to how hard these people were training. And I came to this conclusion that you may be in your head thinking you're training hard, but are you really? Do people really think they're going to failure? Because I don't think a lot of people that say they're going to failure are going to failure. And how do I know this? So the things I look out for is technique and form breakdown. On the last 1 to 2 reps, the technique and form is going to give a little. And then secondly, does the weight slow down? It should be slowing down pretty drastically. Like almost not moving, and you're just barely getting through that last rep. That's getting extremely close to failure. And then lastly is whenever you cannot move the weight anymore. Like when you're, especially like a leg extension or a hamstring curl, like you're putting all your effort into it and it's not moving. Like you're trying to think more about oxygen, trying to keep oxygen in to move, and the weight just will not move no matter how hard you are trying. That is a true set to failure. Like for example, today I did my hack squat. So I did my hamstring curls, my leg extensions, my hack squat. I've actually transitioned to a very narrow quad dominant teardrop specifically style hack squat. And if you watch any of Blood and Guts, Dorian Yates style hack squat, that's kind of the way I'm doing it. Instead of doing like a traditional mid platform, it's very quad dominant. And so I get done with that, and then I'm going to my time plat style. I love to finish with this after I do my hack squats, where my knees are really far out over the toes. My feet are as far back on the platform as they can be. I'm only on the balls of my feet, which is the front of your feet, and I'm driving my entire body forward. And it's a lot of knees over toes. It's a lot of stress and tension on the quads, especially in the very bottom of the movement. And I was taking it all the way to failure. I had no spot, which is a good thing. It's a machine. You don't really have to have a spot. I think that having a spotter in a machine is only to help you get through and beyond failure, realistically, for machine work, right? If it's a way for you to safely rack and unrack weight in a way where you don't get pinned or folded like you would with a squat or something like that, or like a bench press where you get stuck. Smith machine, you can rack it on the pins, right? For me, a spotter and a machine should be there to assist in the sticking points and pushing you beyond what you think you're capable of and what you are capable of. So maybe you think you're going to stop and your spotter can see that you have more in the tank. You get maybe 4 more reps or 2 more reps. You do hit true failure and you're in the bottom of the movement. Maybe they help you grind through a couple more and you get beyond failure. So that's my belief on spotters when it comes to machines. But I didn't have one for this time plat style hack squat. And I got a plate on each side, and I'm somewhere above 10. I'm between 12 to 15. I kind of lost track of the count. I was really just focusing on going as far as I could. And I get to the last, you can hear the exertion. Like I'm kind of getting to the point where, you're not really paying attention to the reps anymore. You're thinking more about the muscle itself. And I'm thinking, can I get one more? Can I get one more? And I get to the point where I can't get one more doing the Tom Platt style hack squat. I bottom out the machine, crawl from underneath of it safely. You know what I mean? Like I'm going super slow. I'm not super slow, but I'm going in a controlled manner. I go down. I can't come back up. I get halfway. I'm grinding through it. Technique starts to break down. If I go any longer, I will have to transition to a normal hack squat, or I have to set the weight down. So I've achieved failure in that set. So I set the weight down. I crawl from underneath this hack squat machine, and I'm thinking, and then I think, and that's when I was starting to come to that conclusion that that's what true failure is. I mean, I've known it for a while, but it just really shocks me when I get around a large group of people to see the training intensity, whether it be there's a lot or a little. I think it really depends on your experience with how much you train. I see a lot of like the guys who have a ton of muscle on their frame or women who have a muscle on their frame. Their intensity is there. I was talking about doing quality over quantity, and a lot of people go to volume, and I think a lot of people go to volume because it's hard for them to get into that intensity level day in, day out, right? And so the problem with that is if you're doing junk volume, if it's garbage, it's garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. So you kind of really need to evaluate that and say, is doing more of garbage going to give me like good results? Or do I need to focus on, like, let's say you're doing 3 sets on bench, but your form is crap. Like, you know what I mean? Like you record your set. If you don't have nobody there to spot you, record it and look at it and be honest with yourself. Say, my form is awful, especially when I get really close to the point where I can't do anymore. Okay, is adding another set really going to be the answer? Is it really the answer? Or should you maybe back off the weight a little bit more, increase your intensity, and really drive through the set with proper technique, cadence, you know what I mean? Controlling the weight, full range of motion, and just getting through that set and saying that was 100% the best set I've ever done on that machine or that movement. When you get to that point, and if you're really stalling, if you're really plateauing, then volume could be an answer. I think a lot of people will try to band-aid volume on top, but that's not going to be the answer for you if you're not having quality first. I hope that makes sense. Like, if you're wanting to get good results, take the time and do it right, and then stack on top of it. You need to have a foundational, base of building your frame through great movements, and then you need to be able to get through them the correct way, and then you can start to stack on more volume. But there's no point in doing volume if you don't have a base yet. All it's going to do is end up leading to injury because you're doing the same thing wrong over and over and over multiple times. Like if you can't shoulder press correctly with dumbbells, doing more volume is not going to help you get stronger. It's going to start creating joint issues. Really get the movement. Every once in a while, record your sets, especially your top sets. Warm-up sets don't really matter. That's just for you to prime your CNS, check for injury, get blood moving, but that is not supposed to be your all-out sets. When you have your actual working sets or workouts or just one working set, record it every once in a while, just every few weeks, check it. Go back and look at it real quick and say, oh man, like I thought I was doing good, and it's actually I could do a lot better here and here and here. And then compare your bench press. Say a competitor like a powerlifter or a bodybuilder or something like that has like a great chest, and you want to get a better chest. You record your workout, look at yours, and watch theirs, and see what's the difference, and try to understand why they're doing that exercise the way they're doing it. Why do a lot of bodybuilders only do the 3/4 rep? Well, we keep constant tension. Is there a reason to lock out if we're not trying to train for purely strength in powerlifting, right? Because lockout you have to have in powerlifting. But we, as a bodybuilding world, are trying to just maximize muscle damage. So locking out is not really our focus. What we're trying to do is push blood, constant tension. We're thinking tear, rip, tear, muscle damage every single rep. And whereas a bodybuilder is going to be, or a powerlifter may be more focused on reps in reserve and fatigue and, building up to a 1 rep set. So they're looking at peak strength. We're not, in the bodybuilding world, you don't really look at peak strength like that. You might do it in your top sets. You might say, oh yeah, I can hit 315 for a set of, 6. Okay, that's nothing compared to saying I can hit 500 for a single or 400 for a single. Let's say you hit over 400 pounds for a single. Even though it may seem close, you think that, okay, if you can do that amount for that many reps, you should be able to do, another 100 pounds for one. when you put that much weight of a difference on the bar, it is a completely different game. Like when you're getting to like 1 rep maxes and you're adding 5 pounds on, that's 5 pounds on of what you already were barely capable of doing. It's a very big difference. It can feel like the entire Earth's gravity is pushing you back. So they're different animals, different beasts, different training styles, different approaches. We are focused. If your goal is like aesthetics, physique, muscle on frame, it should be maximizing muscle damage. Maximize muscle damage with high quality sets. And so when you're in there training, think when you get done with that set, did I really have everything? Did I really put everything I had into it? Was it like, if I had to do one more rep, could I get one more rep? Like, could I have gotten, how far away? Because most of the time in the set, like when you're in the moment, you're gonna feel like that's it. But then as soon as you rack it and you're looking back, you're like, I really think I might have had 2 or 3 more in me. Like I really think I do. And that's not the feeling you want. When you get done racking it, when you rack the weight, it should be like that is it. If I didn't have this spotter available to help me assist in this last rep, like it was not going to go up. And you've checked the box on intensity of getting as close as you can to failure, or if not failure. And so now you know what your baseline is for your next workout, right? When you're powerlifting, you're not trying to do failure all the time. But the difference is you're doing a lower rep range. With bodybuilding, we're doing a high rep range. We're not trying to do max sets, high CNS fatigue. We're trying to minimize fatigue with the highest amount of output of muscle damage. That's why reps are higher. We can get more small tears, but they're a lot larger in quantity over the long term, compared to if you was to go do a powerlifting session and you do like maybe a few sets and you work up to your top single, you might get one large, set of tears, but they're not going to be as equivalent to, you doing a couple more sets in a higher rep range with bodybuilding style hypertrophy sets. That's why there's hypertrophy ranges and there's strength ranges. You can kind of try to meet in the middle somewhere, but usually that means you're not going to be too good at either one, right? That's why you may want to do different training blocks completely. Instead of trying to get into the middle of it, try to figure out what your actual goal is. Do a training block for this style. Do a training block for this style. If you want, you know what I mean? Like really focus on one thing instead of trying to be okay at everything. And so that's just something I really thought was interesting, was the way that people perceive their exertion and failure compared to the way that you see it from the outside. And when I go back and watch my videos, I can, for the most part, tell that was it. Like there was nothing. Every once in a while, I'll catch myself and I can see that I called it maybe a few reps short, and I make sure to go back on the next session and earn that. I really, really try to earn those sets, and it gets easier with time. So that's just something I want to dive into. Bring your intensity. I think high quality, high intensity sets is what drives muscle retention and muscle damage, which results in muscle growth. And so I hope that helped. And so we'll see how the body holds up with calories being staying the same, increasing the output, and seeing how the body is doing. Because right now my stomach's already really flat. I'm starting to see, at this point, some ab outline definition, you could say, coming in. I wouldn't really call it definition just yet. My stomach's extremely flat. In the mornings, before I've ate, like that, when I'm really depleted, I can see the outlines in good lighting of abs. So I know that even though I haven't changed my calories, I've been obviously doing more daily expenditure. So I think that's been helping keep, if anything, the weight on the scale is going to be moving up because I've been increasing water, but the body at this point is what I'm really paying attention to. So we'll see how it goes. I don't want to make the video too long. Let me know what y'all think about this. If y'all have any questions, any comments, if you have a different approach, if you see things in a different way, or you've had successes in a different way, or you've had failures, put those out there. We're all out here trying to learn. We're all out here trying to get better. I think that's the way to do it, is just share and, gather knowledge from each other. That's why I like doing this, because just me talking to y'all and explaining the thought process, explaining the way I'm trying to do my training and my nutrition and all this, it's allowing me to actually, like, it's different when you're thinking of it internally, but when you speak it, it can make it more sense, or you can see the flaws in it. So, but I'll see you guys on the next one. This is Chad Endless Potential. Peace.